Recording of this. Welcome everyone. So today we'll be talking about something which is not very much spoken about. It's basically what wokeism means. So the Oxford definition of being woke is when we are very well informed and up to date about what is happening uh, in everyday life. So especially when you are very woke across or rather against any discrimination or racial prejudices or any societal injustice that we see around. So if you voice against it, or if you normally uh, have an opinion which is against it, or if you're very conscious about uh, not being racist or not being sexist, so that goes down as being called woke. So, with that understanding, is there any difference in the definition that you all have come across other than what I told when you all might have researched about this topic? Anyone can go.
Like, can I
Yeah,
go?
Nilesh. Sure.
If you're familiar with the term America, you probably know like definitions are altered too much to the date. In America,
Hmm.
probably USA, if I go specifics. So Western cultures like they are too aggressive towards the word freedom. They bring liberalism to everything. And in this case, woke, they are aggressive towards not being discriminated while being discriminated. So right now in orientation, they have taught us a lot about this stuff. How to not be rude, how to be that, how to do this. Yeah. Um, so basically, they have told us that you cannot point out things that seem different in the work culture. It's it's
So you directly went
um
into the repercussions of it. Uh,
yeah,
Maybe
a lot of
I'll
repercussions
post
actually.
another question. I might keep interrupting in between, like, because we have
Works,
very
works,
short
works.
time. So have you, like, any of you experienced being woke, as in like you were very vigilant about being politically correct, uh, maybe like in your school, in your
Yeah,
college, in your workspace? Yeah, Bipin.
yeah, like my understanding of woke is कि you're sensitive about other people का perception. तो that I like उसका misunderstanding भी होता है बहुत लोग ऐसा कभी कर people take it to extremities. But what I understand is if you are very sensitive against अगर किसी को नहीं अच्छा लग रहा कुछ ऐसा बोलना तो like we can understand where it is coming from. How do they interpret that thing? And then maybe be kind enough to not tell it to like not do it to them, so that is like sensitivity towards a cause that I understand as woke. So I recently I have been like ज्यादा ये आ गया है कि like I make it a point to understand whatever the person feels like. So if someone is like I do not want to be addressed this way, so I do ask them questions because I'm actually very curious. What do they think? Why do they think like that? But I do respect their decision to not be called as a कुछ कि do not call me as he ऐसा वाला. So that I have experienced that instance.
Like while interacting in any professional space, like how often does it naturally come to us when we ask a person his or her pronouns, like what your pronouns are? Like, does it come naturally to any of us?
No.
No. Okay.
Really, yeah, it doesn't come naturally. I think, shall I go?
Yeah, sure, Ashna.
Go.
Yeah, so I think since it is of a recent emergence over here, I'm talking in perspective from South India. So basically, I don't think everybody is accustomed to this term woke here. Instead, probably something we are more accustomed is political correctness. So these term, I believe this was introduced to me while I came to MCC, to be very honest. Before that, nothing of that sort actually came into my mind. So I feel like once we are aware of it, uh, I don't think we can be I mean, there has to be a gray area. I mean, not there has to be. I mean, many troubles can happen from our end,
Hmm.
today or tomorrow, because we aren't that well informed. We are getting aware of all these things. So I believe as long as we can be assured, or like, we can ensure the fact that moving on, we can make the changes. So, political correctness is something that came into our language very recently, and so we now we try consciously not to, engage in materials like that. I mean, conversations like that. But asking for pronouns doesn't come very naturally to us, because we all assume that okay, this is this, that, and stuff. So we naturally assume that okay, this person is this. But so you guys are telling, do we need to literally ask a person
Uh,
their pronoun?
no, like that was, matlab, it
Yeah.
depends from person to person. So the curiosity was whether it comes naturally to us. So we get a clarity
Not
like it
really for
doesn't.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe like I would
Uh,
pitch one thing here. I was just going to take you to the proposition that Nilesh took us to, that it was something that came up in West. Do you think like India, or like a lot of maybe aware or students of the top colleges, like who are privileged enough, like they are blindly accepting or blindly following this woke culture without contextualizing it to Indian context? Do you feel that way? You resonate with me.
Yeah, Steve. So just one thing, just before I would like to play the devil's advocate to the previous question. When you asked how
Mm-hmm.
natural, or do we ask people naturally whether their pronouns are such and such, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, this is a very personal opinion, but I honestly don't think that. See, that comes at a very, very high level and a sort of dangerous level of wokeism, right? When you are supposed to go and ask somebody what you should call them, right? Now, I'm very respectful of their choices. If they want me, if there is somebody who wants me to call them him or her or even them or they, I'm ready to do that. But I would not be going around and asking that because, frankly, even when you use the word naturally, right? How natural is it? So that is one question. I mean, you see, you wouldn't go and ask a lion or a lioness, he or him. I am always coming back to this lion lioness thing, but in animals, you would not
Mm-hmm.
say them, they, or whatever, right? You would always go and say he, him, her, she, and that is dependent and based on their entire biology, right? So why does that have to be natural for us to go and ask somebody else what are your pronouns? If you want me to call you by a different pronoun, I'm okay with that. But I don't think it would be actually natural to make it a part of everyday conversation where I have to go and ask everybody, okay, what are your pronouns, this and that. Right? In fact, so that is one thing.
Yeah.
So I think once everybody else talks about it or your next prompt, we can definitely go for it.
So I'll maybe thank you for that, Aditya. Like I agree with you, and that's where wokeism becomes toxic. Is I agree with you on that. So I'll again like bring back the point which I was making, which was like, are we blindly bringing the Western definition of wokeism into India without contextualizing it? This is coming from the
I
yeah.
like
Yes,
to,
Varun. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Varun.
so I like to like this particular point of West. Are we blindly adapting the Western thing? So I like to touch upon the process. Now I did a bit of research in knowing how this woke culture started in the world and in India. So like first of all of this wokeism it derives from the larger progressive culture that happened in West in India everywhere with feminism, LGBT rights, or Black Lives Matter. All of this
Mm-hmm.
started with good progressive movement. But what happened, like with the rise of internet, this the progressive movement it took a very different form. This progressive movement instead of uh, being on grassroots and working to bring rights to a black person, it tended to be writing a Twitter post about a black person. It became that easy, and with this easyification, this grammar is wrong, but with this easyification of this solidarity, like before, if something would happen to a black person, I will go and find a lawyer, and I will go and find some community center, and I will make some connections with it. My process became easy. I just have to tweet about it, and this kind of process which happened in West is also happening in India. So if there is something about speaking about personalities or speaking about LGBTQ or anybody, so the process has been simplified. It's You can just write a WhatsApp post or you can just tweet it, and by that post or tweet, you are able to show a solidarity. And with this simplification, I feel that work culture has been reinforced. So earlier it was, I feel it started with a good this progressive culture. I am very much a part of progressive culture. But with the simplification of how the progressive culture can be implemented, the wokeism has started. That is my thinking about it.
I second that as well. Since you raised the point of how we post WhatsApp statuses or maybe like Instagram stories to show our camaraderie with the cause, one thing that happened was like during Me Too movement, like it started as a wave and a lot of women coming out and talking about their stories. But there came a point of time when it happened so regularly, like that so often that it lost its value, as in like people started taking it casually. Like, did you all also experience that? Like, it was not having that flavor, and like the cause with which it started, it completely disappeared, and it just became normal. And then it was like someone crying at the far corner of the country, and no one coming up, like because the number of such cases was so much. So do you think like anyone could maybe like take this up?
I feel that now if the number of cases were too high, now like I will like to bring two movements. First is this Me Too movement, and second is Nirbhaya movement. When Nirbhaya movement was there was a strict demand that there should be a Nirbhaya law, a particular law which would and there were lots of some demand in that law. Now, when Me Too movement happened, it was about name calling. Means earlier it's definitely started with good intention. I am quite supportive of Me Too movement as well. But as you are saying, how it turned out, it started with name calling and it ended with name calling. There was not a demand of an institution. Like nobody in this Me Too movement, they demanded that let's have a strong post policy or something like that. But however, that was done in the Nirbhaya movement. So, this why I consider Me Too movement as part of work is because of this process. A strong institution is not demanded. It ended up in being name calling and being popular at the end of it.
Does anyone have to add or like a
Yeah,
different perspective or
I
any other?
had
Yeah, Bipin.
a question. Like,
Uh,
how do we categorize like Me Too movement as a woke? And where my conflict is it's just it's a it's an incident where people were sharing their like a negative part of their life or a story that happened to them. And how, so why are we calling it woke and not just them just sharing their story? Like,
so is it a rhetorical
how
question
should
or is it like a question that you're posting?
I am very conflicted around it. Why the term woke for it then?
Because they were like,
Got
I
it.
feel so like, okay, Varun.
No, I mean he is right. Like it does not necessarily need to be woke. Like that is another perspective to look at it. So it can be just sharing their stories. But where I had means the problem with the larger Me Too movement was that it did not end up in creating a structure or a strong discourse in the country. It ended up in being popularity facade. Like Yeah, this just that's my opinion. But again, I may be wrong.
Uh,
Interesting. So if I would, so
Aditya, हाँ
can I go?
हाँ हाँ
Yeah,
sure.
okay, sure. So me too, right? First, just answering Bipin's question, why is it considered woke? I think woke is an umbrella term, right? Anything progressive, you can just push it into into under the definition of woke. And Me Too was basically one reason that, there are multiple reasons why Me Too failed. One was what Amber Heard did with Johnny Depp. So there were multiple cases where it was just exactly like Varun said, right? Just having your 15 minutes of limelight. But the other side is, see, Me Too was not just a woke movement, but more specifically, it was a feminist movement. So there are two problems that exist there. Number one, what about the male voices who are sexually assaulted, right? So they have no such Me Too movement. But again, coming back, feminism is the major problem here. The second thing is, I believe that society has a general apathy towards the issues that women face. Okay. Now, you said that there were so many cases that started popping up after Me Too. Now, firstly, the amount of courage that it would have taken to for anybody to come in front, right? Uh, Despite all the social barriers, in fact, social barriers starting from their own parents, right? I know girls who carry pepper sprays. I know girls who have faced a form of sexual harassment, but they did not use their pepper spray. And I know why. Because the first question that would be asked is, why did you use the pepper spray? What were you doing at that place at that particular point of time? So the apathy starts from the grassroots level, right? And that is one of the biggest changes that should have come across. You know, Me Too failed simply because of the apathy and nothing else. There was no action taken, right? And that is the general societal behavior. Most of the rape cases, most of sexual assault cases, they're just swiped away under the rug, and nothing actually happens. Nothing comes out of it. Nirbhaya became such a sensational case because of the media trial around it, because of the gruesome nature of what happened. Right? In the same case, that this was, I think, if Stephen would remember, I'll just finish myself quickly, that I used to post a lot of statuses previously, right? So if you remember, there was one case in Telangana where the police was highly decorated for encountering the four rapists who then raped and burnt the girl, right?
Hmm.
Now, why wasn't such an action? Now, I'm not inciting anyone, please don't take it that way, but why was there such a difference in action between the cases where at the same time you had that Kathua rape case and also the that BJP MLA? I'm not sure the case, the name of that case, right? I forgot. But why was there such a difference between these two cases, right? So I think it completely falls down to social apathy in the end.
Thank you for like those instances. It really brought back a lot of incidents that have taken place in the past. We just have 10 minutes left, so maybe like I would try to take you to another. Uh,
Can I go?
Nilesh, you want to discuss about what you were already talking? Yeah,
Yeah,
sure. Like
just wanted to
maybe you
add
can take
some
30
more
seconds to
pointers
do
I
it.
just
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
30 seconds? Okay.
Uh-huh.
So, see, world has always been against change, but things that happen with the woke culture is that they're not only resisting change, but they are trying to resist the people that are using this change to for their for their benefit and their popularity. For example, if you go in the same sense, in much earlier era of humanity, where philosophies were mostly followed, a new philosophy came up that is a cynic, some of you people know. So cynics basically said that we will not care about societal norms and believe freely. Then the toxic era came, and cynics were now seen as people that aggravated towards the societal norms. They were committing pranks, or in some other words, terrorist attacks, like urinating, um, urinating. I'm sorry, I'm not able to say that word. Doing anything unpenal code anywhere they wanted. And that's the case that shows a very much resemblance to the woke culture. It's aggressive liberalism, and the parties that are benefiting from them are very much present, but nobody can see them.
Thank you,
People that
Rilesh.
are benefiting from the woke culture,
Maybe we'll
yeah,
take up two more issues. Like one would be this that woke culture divides more than it unites. Like already there are so many things to divide us, and it keeps on adding to that. So that when applied to the Indian context, because there are so many more ways to divide Indians into. Like we have caste, which is very a caste, and like which Gotra we are born in. So a lot of extra elements in our country. So how do you feel like this has manifested in wokeism in India? Like maybe Kausar ma'am or Rashna, if you could share your opinion, yeah. How woke culture divides and like how can it create two different groups like against each other? Or if anyone is like having some opinion on this.
Yeah, so basically I didn't get the entire question, to be very honest. If somebody could enlighten me with that, that would be of great help. I mean, I would need more information. As in, like, if
Okay.
I feel like I'm not very much aware about the facts. So if somebody could help me out, it would be of great help. Yeah, thank you.
No problem. Basically, what I intend to speak is like when we talk about woke culture. So, for example, if we talk about the genders that exist, so binaries and non-binaries, and like now all have to respect one another. So, similarly, like then again, like the non-binaries can get into so many different subgroups. So, in Indian context, like if we get to that level, so do you feel like there'll be more divisions in our country and like they will be against each other instead of like trying to have it's already always very difficult to unite the entire country into that umbrella term of India because I feel like it's just an idea because our histories have been very different. Yeah, majority of them have had common history, but there are a lot of things that divides us as well. And uh, pitching people based on different differences, like uh, already caste में discrimination था, and uh, what would woke culture do is like it would intensify this identity that they already have. So is it a good thing or a bad thing?
Can I say something, Stephen?
Yeah, Kaushal ma'am.
Yeah. It just reminded me of some other conversation on a similar note. So I feel that more than the ideologies, what divides people is the mindsets, right? That because we cannot come always make India such that the people will start thinking same because there are differences and that will remain all the time. I feel and when we were like in our past, people were divided into like politically they were divided into princely states. Now, like there we are not divided. We do have a similar kind of a political situation, but ideologically in other ways we are divided. So I feel rather than thinking that what people believe it divides others, rather a mindset that only I am good and others are bad and I am superior, that is what divides people, and I guess that needs to be addressed. And then people can believe whatever they want to believe and still respect the other things, differences. I mean, that tendency to not tolerate difference and diversity is, I guess, the main problem when it comes to not uniting. Otherwise, I don't think it's possible to, have a similar thought process or similar ideologies and all those things. I don't think it is possible. And one thing, how woke culture can create disunity. I had an example because I had a conversation with a girl because many people are who are very liberal or may not very religious or may think like they are very what do you say, they are secular or in a way they don't believe in religion or they are not too much into religion and things like that, they sometimes tend to look down upon people who are religious, or look down upon their own scriptures. I had this conversation with a girl, and she was simply kind of said that Bhagavad Gita is not a very good scripture. But I feel that just because we are liberal does not mean that we should completely deny something that we have. Maybe we can try to understand that other person's perspective, maybe try to understand what is written in the scriptures also, and try to go deep into it, rather than completely denying that thing on the base, just by saying that, oh, we are liberal and we don't believe in all these things. So the way we deny things, the way we put down so many of our own cultural things, that I feel is one of the problem with woke culture when it comes to being liberal and secular.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So yeah, I feel like uh, changing the mindsets and again like educating the masses is the key to it. Like the more we educate and the more, and not just inside the classrooms, even when talking to our friends on the field or when we are traveling with them, even then, like if we notice any small actions of theirs and just talking about it, calling it out, that is something which might help to change the mindset issue that you spoke about. We can take one closing comment, maybe from someone who could uh, talk about something interesting that you read about this woke culture, and we just have 1 minute for it.
I do
Yeah,
have a
Nitin.
line that could close it. If I can go ahead,
Yeah,
if
sure,
anybody
sure,
else
sure,
is
sure.
wanting to. Okay, so I don't know if you guys remember, but a few years ago, Section 377 of the IPC was decriminalized. Right? So that relates to unnatural sexual habits. Um, and that was termed as hailed as a landmark judgment for homosexuality, LGBTQ movement, and all. There was just one line that I would like to point out. Justice D.Y. Chandrachud had quoted Goethe, a German poet and philosopher. I am what I am, so take me as I am. It was a very beautiful line.
I really feel that was a great one. And I'll first stop the